Bum 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 bum. Okay, now that I've shot my credibility completely with anyone new, pardon me. Now I have some grunt work to do, and it's already done. Whoops! Now it's done. Hi everybody, it's me, Bob Doyle. Like it says right here in the corner, Bob Doyle of the Bob Doyle Show, and part of the offering that is the Bob Doyle Show are these pseudo-regular Law of Attraction Q&A sessions where I bring to the table not the books that I wanted to show you, but me talking about the books. My 15 years of expertise, if you will, in this conversation related to that crazy, wacky law of attraction and creating your life by design. I mean, it's nuts out there. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? One moment while I take a sip of this. This is cappuccino that I made myself. Sarah is here, and she finally got the notification. For those of you who are getting notifications from our system, isn't that fun? I love it. All right, and Dawn is here as well, and Sharon's here as well. I'm sure all these people got their notification. Oddly, on this particular broadcast, I did not set it up where you can type a magic thing and get notified. I can add it later, though. So that's all I'll say on it. I'm just glad you're here right now, because I'm here again to answer your law of attraction questions if you have them. It may very well be that I've been doing this for so long and have created so many of these law of attraction Q&As that everybody on the entire planet has every single law of attraction question they've ever had, ever will have, answered by what we've already done. Yeah, I'd like to think that. It's a dream. Hi, Tommy, and Kathy, and Letitia, and Charmaine all have snuck in while I wasn't paying attention. And Cheryl as well. So, all right. Now, I want to also, we need to have big time acknowledgement for Cheryl and Sarah, and Dawn for that matter, all of whom are a part of the new 90-day group coaching program that we launched yesterday and that starts in September. And we have a special announcement about that. Thanks to Sarah, you might all of the to whom these apply can thank Sarah for this, for what I'm about to tell you. Like, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you right now, and then we'll get into the Q&A, and then I might revisit this. Yesterday, you know, we talked about the Law of Attraction 90-day coaching program that has just launched, and I'm very, very thrilled about it. And this is the webpage for it, and you can get there, I think. Yeah, there you go. boundlessliving.com/group coaching. There is a little bit of a time thing going. Even though we start September 23rd, the first 5 people who enroll get a free one-on-one hour-long session from me. By the way, that's worth about $500. You know, I don't do one-on-ones anymore, but when you broke it down, that was what it was. So that's like, you know, just on top of that for the first 5. But there's only 2 spots left on that one. So today, basically, if you're sitting on the fence, you can come check out the page. Here's what we added today, and I'm very excited about it. I think it's just freaking awesome. Let me close that up. Oh, gotta change the, whoops. Oh, stop it. Little formatting issue here. I'll fix that, or Dawn can. But it's a household discount. Basically, if you live with someone who would also like to go through this group coaching program, you can both enroll, and the second person is basically getting a 50% discount. So that's a great deal. And I'm thrilled to be able to do it. And Sarah and Cheryl were a great example last time of the power of doing that as a pair. You know, when you have that built-in support system, not only the group that we talk about, obviously, but also just right there in-house. So if you've got somebody in-house and you'd like to do that, then you can jump over here and save a lot of money and do it with your friend or family member or spouse or whatever. The guy you're taking off the street because you liked the clothes he was wearing. I don't know. Whatever the situation is. I'm not judging. Okay. Anyway, just thought I'd tell you that. So here's one of the... Lynn, you got here. Live. Feels good, doesn't it? It's a different kind of electricity. You can just feel it. So Lynn, I hope that you're excited and you actually have a question, a law of attraction question. If not, I've come prepared for a subject with a subject matter. I've come prepared with subject matter. I must have left the ability to speak in the kitchen, but I will forge through. That's pretty good. I got to say, I do a good job on a cappuccino. Relationships. Ooh. So you know, when you've been teaching the law of attraction for 15 years, you hear a lot of questions, right? Every conceivable topic. But there are some that live at the top of the list almost all the time. Money being one, shock, relationships being two. And of those two, it should be relationships being that get the most important, most of your attention. The money thing, whatever. We deal with that. We deal with that in other ways, not the way you're probably doing it. But this relationship thing, that's a big one. Because there's people who ask questions about primary relationships, like how do I make my primary relationship better? Or how do I attract the perfect primary relationship? Right? Or my favorite / least favorite question, how do I get my ex back? Oh, Dimitri has a question. I just understood that I wanted stuff like cars, houses, etc. for somebody's approval, and I don't want that. After I understood that I am chasing approvals, I understand that I actually don't know what it is I want in this situation. What will I attract? Dimitri, what are you attracting? Is it kind of chaos? Is it kind of the same? This is such a great question. Such a great freaking question, because so many people start the law of attraction conversation just like this. They chase somebody else's vision of what success is, or what, wealth is, or what abundance is. And then, just like Dimitri, you understand, you know what, this isn't giving me the juice at all. This isn't what I'm about. Now, that's not to say that he would not attract those things, wealth and abundance and all those things, but that's not what he's chasing. What he's chasing is something else, probably, well, what everybody's chasing, which is a feeling. And so what I would tell Dimitri in this point, because he's not really clear, he's like so many people, crafting a vision based on the stuff in it, rather than the feeling that you're going to attain, which is what the most important part is. And so the stuff that you're creating in this vision, it should be generating a feeling, an emotion that is congruent with exactly what you want to feel when you have all that stuff, or what you think you'll feel when you have all that stuff. So if you are approaching your vision with like, what stuff do I fill this vision with? You're missing the boat. See, and that's what happens with Dimitri. That's not the fulfillment. So what I would recommend is what I recommend to a lot of people, everybody in fact, is to really focus on those feelings you want, and then however you want to phrase this, let the universe fill in the blank, let your mind, your subconscious, whatever, fill in the blank. Let a picture be painted for you without any effort. You just tune into the feelings, and then let's see what shows up in your vision, in your mind, in your imagination, about what life might complement those feelings, having those feelings. Take all the pressure off yourself to figure it out. Isn't that easy? So much easier. Because what ultimately lights you up, it's in there. Your body knows, your soul knows it. You know, it's in there. So you just gotta clear out all that other clutter, and a lot of that clutter is you trying to figure stuff out. Everybody trying to intellectualize. Again, how am I going to use the law of attraction to solve my problems? And you try to craft this plan. Okay, I need this much money, and I want to live here. Blah blah blah. Instead of focusing on the feeling that you want, which is whatever. Financial freedom or love, acceptance, joy, that kind of. Hi, Matilda. So try that on for size. But I will say that this whole thing, this creating the vision that's based on what you're about, is the first order of business in the group coaching. Because why even begin a law of attraction journey if you're not 100% clear on what your vision is and why you want to attain it? But you don't not join a coaching program because you don't know what your vision is. That's the reason to join a program. And I will tell you that I'm going to just throw a random number out with no statistical evidence whatsoever, but I'm going to guess that 70%, at least, of the people who come into the group coaching program with an idea of what their vision is, change it fairly significantly over the course of that time together. And hopefully it's making it even bigger. You know, certainly more in alignment with what's really important to them. And also we learn to fine-tune your vision to build in details. Dawn shared a story that I did not know in the group, but basically, you know, it's basically, let me just put it this way, without getting into the details. Sometimes we try to manifest something, and the change is, and we get a change. We put out a signal, and the universe delivers a change, and we don't necessarily like it, the way that it showed up. It can be very negative. It can be sad. It can be devastating. It can be traumatic or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not a mistake you made as a manifester, and you gotta leave that part out of it. But here's what I invite everyone to do when they're creating their vision, and certainly it's going to be different for everybody. But you know, for example, here's another example. You're in a job you don't like, right? You're in a job you don't like, and so you want out of that job. You want something else. You want out of that job, but you're so focused on getting out of that job that you're not focusing on what you're going to do next. This happens sometimes. So getting really clear on and then how that journey goes for you. Like, you get to create the vision for, how do I get from A to B? Not the details, but how are you going to flow? How are you going to emotionally ride the waves that go along the way? Are you going to enjoy it? Is it going to be an adventure? Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be exciting? What is it going to be? Anyway, I think my whole point of all that is that for a lot of people, the vision isn't crafted fully. And so what happens is they get a lot of sort of halfway stuff, and it's sporadic, and we create visions where all the pieces don't necessarily fit together. You know, because we're saying, I want this part of my vision because it solves this problem, and I want this part of the vision because it solves this problem, but can these two really coexist? Anyway, crafting the vision, that's why we spend a whole lot of time on that in the group coaching. And it's something that evolves over the course of the full time together, previously 30 days and now 90 days. And even after that, you know, we start with our vision and it evolves. It tends to get bigger as we start to realize parts of it. Okay, Jeff Adams has joined us, ladies and gentlemen. We have celebrity of the room, but I think it's okay. You can remain seated. We should stand. Okay, we can stay seated. Okay, Jeff says we can stay seated. So he's feeling magnanimous. Is that the word? Probably not. Yeah. So Dawn, really looking forward to crafting the vision, and really that's the fun part. This is the thing. We're creating our dream life. It should be the most fun thing ever. Right? It should be a ton of fun to do, but a lot of it seems like a burden. So what's that about, right? What is that about? But it's true, right? Some of you might be able to relate. Like, it feels like a burden. I can't figure it out, right? That's how twisted the ego has gotten things. It so wants things to not change that it prevents you from being able to think of anything else. And if you don't have a strategy for dealing with that, then I'd like to invite you to jump into our pool, where that's all we do for 90 days. BalancedLiving.com/group coaching. Remember, two more spots for the free hour of... the way it works is this. I said this briefly yesterday. So for the first 5 people who jump on this, and there's already 3 taking these spots, so 2 more left. You get after the first 30 days of the 90. We're going to get you going somewhere first, and then a free hour one-on-one with me, totally private, just working on your stuff. And that, I don't do those anymore, but I'll do them for the next 2 people who pop in here, which basically means do it today. And in fact, you have to do it today. I basically, because I can't just keep going like that. So. Today, meaning today is August 31st, so by the end of tomorrow, which, whatever, it should be by the end of my sentence, we get him in there. And 1 household purchase could do that. Oh, there's something else. I know I'm getting into way commercial mode, but I totally forgot to mention this yesterday. This whole thing from PayPal Credit. So payment is through PayPal. You don't have to have a PayPal account. You can just use a credit card like a normal person who doesn't have a PayPal account. But this PayPal Credit, if you've never done this, it's pretty freaking cool. Now, it's only for the people in the U.S., I think, currently. I mean, it certainly was like that. People in the U.S., and you have to, you have to apply for it and you have to qualify for it. But if you do, then you can make the payment well, you don't pay anything. Basically, you have 6 months to not make any payments to get in here. So 6 months, so 3 of those months will be in the program, creating unbelievable momentum. I imagine financial stability will be part of that for most of you, or escalation, or whatever it is, wherever you are. You get what I'm saying. 6 months from now, drop in the bucket. I can't make promises like that, but you know what I'm saying. It's a creative way to look at getting in without, having to outlay all that. Okay, just want to throw that out there. So let's talk about the loneliness is killing. Not sure to handle that anymore. It's about 15 years since I've shared my life with anyone. Okay, great. So we're back to relationships, Susan. So let's talk about that aspect. Let's talk about that aspect of attracting a partner. Okay, like a life partner. Now, I've talked about this a lot. I have various videos out there all over the place, and what's funny and not so funny, and however you want to interpret it, but it's the real answer to this is the most cliche answer in the whole world is just be yourself. Right now, do you want to wring my neck? Let's talk about that from an energetic point of view, from a law of attraction point of view. Okay, and it's all also very logical, right? Now, ideally, for a partner, we want the ideal partner. This is the person who we're, in many cultures, signing up for life, right? So we want it to be the perfect one, not meaning that there'll never be conflict and all that stuff, because that's how growth happens. It's all just a part of it, But but you want to be in a relationship where you can be 100% who you are. Even the stuff you feel scared to express right now. But you want to. Your soul wants to, but you don't feel safe. But wouldn't it be amazing if you could be in a relationship with someone who actually supported and delighted in those parts of you who you're right now even too scared to express because you think you're going to scare off the right person? Oh, no one would appreciate this part of me. I've got to keep this under wraps, and I've got to present this image here. Well, here's the deal, and that's what most people do. That's what most people do. They present their image, their persona. And that's why after marriages happen and the courting is over, why things go crazy, because, well, now at some point the real you has to start showing up. It's just gonna, and if it doesn't, you're going to be completely miserable. And that's what generally happens, is we still suppress parts of us that we suppressed to try to get into this relationship. When the idea is, ideally, we should just be being ourselves in all of our complete, absolute weirdness, unusual uniqueness, the stuff where 70% of the population looks at us and goes, what a weirdo, but the 30% that gets us are the tribe. They're the friends, they're the relationships, they're the primary relationships, they're your customers, they're your clients. Those are the people who get who you really are, and the hell with the rest of them, no matter who they are. And even no matter what the history you've had with them. Now, that sounds pretty harsh, but here's the deal. We compromise like crazy in our relationships. We many times we evolve. We do. There's a lot of people who decide at some point to go the personal development route. They see The Secret. They want to take on something bigger. And that is a fundamental energetic change in who you are and who you be and the energy you're putting out there. And when that happens, you may or may not still be an energetic match for the community that you've attracted to this point. If you've got friends who are still stuck in their negative thinking or their limited thinking, which you used to join them on, but now you're going somewhere else, what do you do? Right? Because and I hear it all the time, this negative stuff over here is constantly bringing you back. It's bringing you down. It's making it difficult. Am I right? Can I get an amen? How many people can relate? Give me a thumbs up or something. I have to see things out of the corner of my eye or I feel very alone. But then we make choices. It's like, well, oh, but I've known them for 15, 20 years. And despite the fact that they don't seem to honor where I'm going, and despite the fact that they are committed to their limiting behavior, I'm going to continue to somehow manage this relationship, no matter how detrimental it is to me. See, that's what most people do. Sometimes it's just time to move on. Yeah, but. Okay, so justify all you want. And you are arguing for your limitations and all of it. Look, relationships evolving, it's natural. But a lot of us have learned that it's bad or it's sad or it's whatever. But they were my best friend for 20 years. Yes, but they only complained. They only told you what you couldn't do. They only wanted you to stay down where they were. Snap out of it. Anyway, you can see why relationships are such an important part of the group coaching experience, because you see, we as a group, of course, are creating all sorts of relationship inside the group. And like I said yesterday, I mean, we got people from all walks of life. This isn't just a bunch of like New Agers getting together, guys. These are like real people, real jobs, real careers, real stuff up in their life, and they're serious about getting to the next level. And so we create relationship inside that group. Some of these are totally brand new types of relationships. But here's what we're also learning: what's possible. Oh my God. It's possible to connect with people like this. People like this are out there in the real world. What if I surrounded myself offline with people like this? How much further could I go if I had this kind of support system in my everyday life? Well, you do. It's just online when you're part of the group coaching. Come on, if this doesn't excite you, do you have a pulse? Let's find out. Here's what you do. You just put your fingers right on your wrist, or maybe like this, and just wait for a second. If you feel any bumping, well, that's good. That means you're jumping into the group coaching program. If you don't, you should see somebody about that. Yeah, Susan says, well, what if they're relatives? Yeah, I know. It makes it really tricky. It makes it tricky because in our society, we've learned that there's something about the relatives that all of a sudden all the rules about boundaries or personal or what your life is about, now it doesn't apply anymore. Well, they're my mom, and so I need to just buy into her limitation. No, you don't. Absolutely, you do not. You can choose to but she's my mom, and that's just what we do. Family's number one, blah, blah, blah. Great. Just know what that's costing you. And also know that you're serving her in no way, or serving whoever the relative is in no way by coming down to their level or agreeing to them or pandering to their limitations. You're just making their ego get stronger. See, yep, even they won't go. You see what's happening here? So you've got to just say, no. And here's the reason why we spend so much time on the being part. Who are you going to be in this vision? Because who you're going to be is not somebody who is okay with surrounding themselves with negative people, regardless of if you share the same blood and DNA. Bob, that sounds pretty harsh. That's what we've learned. You don't think it's harsh to compromise the rest of your life because somebody else is uncomfortable? That seems pretty harsh to me. Sal, yes, you can. Sal asked, if you do the PayPal with 6 months of no payments, can you still make payments during the 6 months if you choose to? Yeah, that's what I always do. I use it sometimes, like if I'm just like a equipment purchase or something that's kind of like, I wasn't really budgeting for that, right? Just boom. Okay, I'll deal with it in a few weeks, and then that's always how I do it. Okay, Nori's here. Did you feel that everything just kind of get like that? That was because Nori showed up. Okay, let's see. Oh, I thought I missed something from Dawn, but nothing. Sometimes it's time to move on, and I did exactly that. She was so incredibly negative and monopolized every conversation to complain about her own problem. I wish her the best, but time to move on with my life. That's right. I don't even know exactly who you're talking about, but we get the context. I'm not saying it's easy. It's probably one of the trickiest parts of this whole journey, and not one that people talk about that much, unfortunately, because it's freaking huge. But we talk about it. because this group coaching program is about real life and doing this every day in real life. At the end of every day, when people come into the group to post about stuff, they're talking about what happened in their life, right? They're not talking about concepts and what if and hypothetical about, no, can you explain this point? You know, it's like, okay, I'm implementing these things and here's what happened today. And it's either, hooray, I'm getting it, or support, please. And then that's what we give. I just cannot think of a better environment. I can't think of a better environment to learn this stuff and get it going than how we're doing it. I know that just sounds so... But I've been doing these things for so long. Seriously, 2008 was our first group thing, and that was 14,000 people at its height. And managing that and watching the relationships, we had marriages come out of that. You know, and plus all these people just burst through and reach their desires, me being among them. So there's just a formula that we've got, and it just freaking works. And I'm telling you right now, the people who have committed to this 90 days, guess what's in common with them? Can you guess? They've all done the 30-day program. They've done it. They're back. That should tell you something. Because if they didn't think it was valuable, they certainly wouldn't be back. And they think it's valuable enough that it wasn't just like, okay, the 30 days, yeah, that was pretty good. No, it was like, this is of course I'm going to continue to get this support, and why wouldn't I? I think that's a pretty strong endorsement. Look, what do I know? I'm a law of attraction and voiceover guy. I do this little show. I don't know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. All right. Okay, so Susan says, my daughter is so negative, and I know that she got it from me when I was that way before practicing the secret. So how do I walk away from that? This is my child. No, you don't walk away from your child. You just be you. If you have redefined yourself as positive, you just be that. She learned the first way. She can learn another way. But see, she has to understand. See, here's the thing. Your negativity and people's negativity, somehow it works for them. It's a coping, it's a rationalization, it's a something. You get to be right. It's way easier to go, that'll never work, and then not have it work, so you get to be right. So this whole negative thing really spins around to your ego being correct about things. Okay, so you learned that, and it was just a way that worked for you. So then your daughter learned it, and now it works for her. So now she has to see a different way of things working. Because even though it's uncomfortable and it's no fun for her, I'm sure it doesn't feel good. You know, if she learned it from you, you have the opportunity to teach her something else, regardless of what her age is. I didn't even ask. But again, you still have the option of being positive. So you have to ask yourself, why is it hard to be positive around your negative daughter, around any negative? What is it? And this is going to be different for everybody. But for you, why is it hard? Like, what's the conversation? What is the voice? Like when you're trying to be positive and she's negative, what's being said to you? This is important. It could be things like, oh my God, I failed. I made her a negative person. You know, or, oh, she's right. I shouldn't be. This is all fake positivity. I believe like she does. Right? Anything like that. That's what to pay attention to. And that's the kind of thing you go after with release techniques and things like that. That, of course, we cover in great detail and walk you through as part of the group coaching, because that's essential. Look, releasing resistance and knowing how to do that and learning how to do it quickly, that's not optional. You must learn that. And if you're trying to learn the law of attraction without some release techniques, well, guess what? That's going to be a slow, painful road. And releasing, by the way, is a natural state for us. We learn these techniques like EFT and some others. We learn these techniques to basically tap into a state that we can generate with a decision. Because our negative reactions and responses, now they are hardwired to an extent, but they began with choices that we make, and we can make new choices. We have to learn to become the observer of our reactions, which again, big theme in the group coaching program, and a skill that you got to acquire if you're not going to get sucked up into your own negative old patterns, because they've been there for years, and your ego will tell you, well, this is who you are, this is the way to respond negatively or whatever, even though you know. How does that help anything? So that it's learning to, when that happens, when you go to that negative space, to immediately get a trigger to go, I'm going to stop. I'm going to observe what's happening here. I'm going to observe this response. Why might I always respond this way to this or whatever? But to turn off the emotion. And if you don't know how to do that, we'd love to teach you ways to do it. But it will take practice. It takes practice. You know, it's not just something I tell you and you go, oh, okay, I'll just detach. No, it's a constant, for a while, learning that you can do it, believing that you can do it, and being okay, because we get so attached to that we should feel this way. We should feel guilt. We should feel sadness. We should feel anger under certain situations. That's all learned and not true. But if we feel like we should feel a certain way, it's going to be hard for us at a value level to change it. Like, to not get upset about something that you believed you should get upset about something is going to feel like you're stomping on your core values, but that's just your ego telling you that. Dimitri says, does law of attraction work less effective if you set up goals for a year? Or it's better if you have less or more in concrete, less than 5? So I don't subscribe to anything like that being true or false. It's absolutely individual. We all respond differently. It's all about what moves you into vibrational alignment with it. If it takes 10 times, if it's 5 times, so that the experience is fun for you, that you enjoy it, that it excites you every time, so that somehow it brings you to a state where the majority of your day you're spending at a high level in alignment with the feelings that you believe are going to be there when you attract this vision. So if 5 times, 10 times, 1,000,000 times, whatever's fun for you, there is no one right way, because we process things like this differently. Some people will be like, I gotta do it 10 times a day, or 10 times a week, or 10 times I gotta. If it feels like a thing they got to do, it's built-in resistance. There's no need for that. Let's see. Hi, Karen has joined. And Caroline is here as well. I'm out of coffee, so I need some questions to keep me here. But you guys have asked great questions. So anyway, that relationship piece, it's really so let me get back to, originally we were talking about attracting the one. So, and I got way off track, but let's go back. It's that being you full out. I know I said all that. Being you full out and letting the world see you, because that's the only way. If you hide and play small for whatever reason, because somebody told you to, put you in your place, or said that's not appropriate behavior, or whatever it is, if you compromise any of that and try to just go out and be a certain way to attract a certain person, you might get the relationship started. But if core pieces of who you are and need to be to feel fully alive are not able to be expressed, either because that person says no, like is against you doing that, or because you feel unsafe doing it, eventually it's going to catch up to you. You're going to feel dissatisfied, and a lot of times you're going to project your upset onto the other person. They did it, they did it, they did it, they did it. Nope, you made the choice to show up a certain way and represent yourself as a certain way of being. Now, look, that doesn't mean that every single time you do that, you're going to attract the perfect person, because sometimes people do that and they get burned, they get your creep and all that other stuff. That's a whole different conversation about different levels of vibration that you might have gone to, blah, blah, blah. But from the basic getting the right one into your space, and it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Be who you are, fully, completely, and unapologetically. How many times have you been out in the world and seen somebody just fully expressing themselves in a way that maybe you wouldn't in a million years, but there's something about that full expression that you wish you could do for whatever it is your thing is. Like, I wish I was as fearless as that person. Right? So what if you were? It's just a decision. What if you took that bold action like that other person? Well, I. So it's not just about what you would think, it's about what all those other people around you would think, and then what would those relationships, how would that change if they saw me being that, right? And it's more than you can handle, and your ego says you can't handle all this change. You can't handle what people think about you. They're going to think you're a weirdo, they're going to think blah, 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 and you say, well, there's just no way in a million years I'm going to do that. And then you still walk around wondering, why isn't this law of attraction thing working? Because you've already compromised what you're going to give to yourself, and the most important gift being who you are. If you can't give yourself the gift of allowing you to be who you are, how are you going to allow all this other stuff that you think is so great into your life if you don't feel like you even deserve to be who you are? Let that one simmer a little bit. Found that a lot of manifestations come from thinking of the manifestation on a very subtle level, kind of like you almost missed the thought even happening. Has this been your experience? Yeah, Ryan. That's that whole detachment thing, you know. I'm sure we've all had experiences of, like, you know, we just have a passing thought of a person and they call or something like that. But we're not like focused on, I wish this person would call me. I am bringing in the person. I am imagining talking to the, right? We're not doing that. Number one, that's silly and not everybody can make that voice. But number two, you're still putting your attention in all the wrong places. So when we have those sort of casual thoughts, and Lynn has been on a roll, I will say, with that. Like Lynn recently, it just a casual thought, casual statement, boom, boom, boom. And it's like, it's pretty crazy. I'm like, let's be intentional about what you're saying. Anyway, so yeah, that can certainly happen but it all comes down to energy and resistance and the levels of allowing and all that other stuff. Okay. Oh, how long have I been doing this to you? It's hard to say. Oh no, it's about 37 minutes. So Susan is asking me how to handle the situation going down in Texas. To talk about, I definitely have all sorts of answers to these types of questions, and it really kind of falls under the why do bad things happen. But there's so much to break down in this. And a lot of times when I tell the answer, just because it's a straight up law of attraction answer, you know, it doesn't necessarily sound like what people want to hear. They want some magic something or other. They want to be able to understand, how could this happen over there? Well, we can't. That's the very dissatisfying answer. There's so much going on that creates that situation from a vibrational point of view, from group dynamics, community dynamics, individual dynamics, how people are weather patterns, the whole thing. But I can tell you for sure, it still happened because there's an alignment. But again, I want to really point out, and this is a key concept here, that 99% plus of what we're attracting in our life is completely unconscious, right? We're not consciously thinking about and visualizing all the elements of our life. Our life is filled with stuff we would prefer not to have, right? And there's things, you know, just around us. We're not. But we move into alignment with things for so many different reasons. We coast along in our energetic form, and we just move into alignment. A lot of it has nothing to do with what we're doing consciously. It's total autopilot. But we do have the ability. We do have consciousness. We don't have to be 100% autopilot. And that's the fun of this work and learning how to do it. And yeah, it can be frustrating because we're being told all kinds of crazy crap. So we try and break it down as logically as possible, make it practical, where even if you don't fully understand or believe some of it, you can still do what you need to do to move into alignment with things. Of course, my goal is that you not only believe it, but you know it. I'm not big on this believing in the law of attraction. I'm not big on that at all. It's knowing it. Hi, Sarah Jane. What would you do within yourself to get rid of negative feelings about it and get back into the positive state? Okay, so Susan is asking, like, how do you deal with the emotions around the negative things? I mean, and, you know, we, as a country, the United States went through that after the election. It was just crazy, you know, just waves of high, emotion. So when it comes down to it, and this really is the answer, is we have to mind our own vibration. She's asking, how do you do that? Well, we get affected emotionally by things like that for a variety of reasons. You know, some of it's just, and then there are other people who can look at it and feel virtually nothing. Okay, so the fact that you're connected, there is emotion here. It's just you have a basic love of humanity. You know, there's other people who have a different level of connection to Houston. You know, there's just so many different reasons that we respond emotionally to things, and if it's a bad thing, then there's probably some connection with loss or whatever. It's just touching. It's just we're getting triggered in some ways, and you can, if we can avoid the word appropriate or inappropriate, we just feel what we feel. So let's not think about whether it's right to feel something or wrong to feel something or to not feel something. We just do. It's a response to input, and everybody responds a little bit differently. Although there's certainly, you know, there's pockets of agreement, of sadness, of empathy, of whatever for what these folks are going through. But for you, it's about managing your own stuff and knowing that, you know, that it's okay to feel emotion, to feel grieving, all of those things. Again, we're born with all of these emotions. So to feel them is not a bad thing. To get stuck on them is not productive. So you feel it. You fully feel it, right? If you feel a cry, you cry. You let that energy flow through you. You know. And the worst thing we can do is really get stuck on analyzing, why are we feeling this way? Is it bad that I'm feeling this way? I mean, this is what happens with the type of law of attraction teaching out there. Because everybody gets so freaking scared of a negative thought that they fixate on it, instead of just letting it be and moving on, which is how we're designed. And Ryan says, for situations in Texas, I personally think seeing good outcomes in our mind is the best. And yes, of course. And also for a very logical reason. It's seeing good outcomes is a creative process. This is how good outcomes happen, is by seeing them in your imagination. This is how everything has ever happened, is that we see it in our imagination first, and then we manifest it through various forms of action and all sorts of other things. So if we want to prevent, for example, something like this, we see a future where it could be prevented. That's where the creative ideas come from that would create the technology or the whatever, the solutions to prevent something like that from happening again. So we take every event that happens and we take whatever good we can squeeze out of it and create a better vision for the future. Hi, Charlotte. Okay. Well, I think I said most of that without breathing, so I'm going to go breathe now for a little while. And I hope you all do the same. And remember, if you are interested in taking this stuff seriously in a very fun and creative way, group coaching. Just go check it out. We're going to be adding, I don't know, a handful of more testimonials from people in there. We added the household discount today for people who have more than one person in there. Just all sorts of reasons to get in there. I hope to talk to you personally and every day for 90 days. But in any case, I'll be seeing you here soon to do another Law of Attraction Live Q&A with me.